Alrighty. Today we are going to, our learning target is I can. Ooh, look at this. I can. I guess I really want you to be able to say this. I can find slope from 2 points. So when you came in, you should have gotten notes, different intervals on graphs. You also need to get your notes out of your binder regarding slopes. We're going to be working on the section that says from 2 points today. So we're going to cover 2 topics. Shouldn't be too long. The reason that we have these different intervals notes, we're going to do that first, okay, is in 8th grade, we've only been practicing so far where the intervals on a graph are by ones. And when I'm talking about intervals on a graph, I'm talking what each line's value is, okay? But in 8th grade, generally, you will not find them by ones, all right? They do not go by ones. So we need to learn to put that as part of our process that we're doing. So first thing I said I wanted you to do was what? When you see slope, you are going to write what? Rise over run. So I'm going to write rise over run right here, okay? All right, next thing, I said I wanted you to look at whether the line was positive or negative. I hope all of you realize that when it goes up from left to right, it is, hope you said positive, okay? So this slope is positive. Now I'm going to add one more thing before we start figuring out what the slope is. Now each line on this side of the graph is by ones. Now, some students do okay just writing it on the side of the graph. Some students do better writing it where they have written rise, okay, that it goes by ones. Our run, though, each line is worth 5. And students tend to do this. Oh, I'm going to draw a line from here to here, and so this is going by 5s, and I would suggest whatever way works for you is great. And the first thing students look at, there's even 2 points on this graph. I'm going to draw my right triangle. So I've got it here, I'm going to draw up, and I'm going to draw over. And yes, that's a right triangle because it has a right angle. All right? Now, the thing that happens here is students look down here and they say, when they go here, they can say 1, 2, 3. So that's the 3. Then they're going to come over here and do 30 to 40. They're going to do, oh, it's 45. That's not the way you can do it. You can't start with 30, okay? You have to start with, from here, it's 0. Then you have 5, 10, 15. So while your rise is going by 1s, 3, your run is going by 5s, and that is 15. So I have a rise of 3 and a run of 15. Now I'm not sure if that will simplify, and remember I wanted you to keep it as a what? Yes, fraction or whole number. So I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to enter 3 divided by 15. I'm going to hit math, and it's on fraction, enter, enter, and it gives me, ooh, it does simplify to 1 over 5, okay? Remember that your y-intercept is your b value, so my b is where the line crosses the internet. Now, this is a 1-quadrant grid, okay? Yes, it has the other parts, but they just don't show it. I could draw it, and I could do quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, but it just doesn't show it. So your y-intercept is where this line, here's your y-axis going up and down, here's your x-axis going across. So it's where this line touches your y-axis, which is at 1. So your y-intercept is 1, okay? Let's practice one more, and then we're going to go to our other topic. So, first thing I want you to do, write rise over run. Okay? Then I want you to say, is this a negative slope or a positive slope? Hopefully you wrote negative. Okay? Then I want you to say, what are these intervals? What is each line worth? Well, here it's going 5, 10, 15. So it's going by fives. It's going up or rising by fives. And it's running, it looks like it's running by 2. Oh, no, it isn't. Because look at, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's really going by, each line is worth 1. So it's going by ones, okay? So I am going to draw my path. Now most students want to just go up to here and they'll say, oh, 45 over 6. Can't do this. This is not like 7th grade, okay? So we're going to go up and we're going to go over, and I'm going to count up by fives, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'm going to write it. And here I'm going to go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I go across 6. So I'm going to write, and I've got my negative sign already written because I knew it was negative. If I don't write it first, I'm going to miss it. 25 over 6. I'm going to see if that will simplify as a fraction. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to hit 25 divided by, 6, hit math, enter, enter, and it doesn't simplify, so I'm going to leave it just like that, okay? Now, if it was, we'll get into tables later. Y-intercept, remember that's your B value, and your y-intercept is where this line crosses. Now, just because your slope is negative doesn't necessarily mean your y-intercept is negative. So your y-intercept crosses the y-axis at 45. So my y-intercept is 45. Okay? And now we're going to go back to our notes that we've been filling out, and we are going to look at slope from 2 points. And it says label, so make sure you have those out. Label your x and y coordinates. Here's your process. Find the change in y and the change in x using the slope formula. Well, the slope formula is on your star chart. Slope of a line, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm telling you, you're going to need to know this. You're going to need to know where to find it. And hopefully, eventually, because you do it so much, it will get just solid in your head. But I'd always look at it because this is the #1 thing students have problems with slope. And we're going to have to use it with tables too. So you might as well get used to it. So I'm going to write here, m equals, and I'm going to use this line as my line, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I write this at the top of every paper that I have to use this. I also write it when I am doing just one problem on an assessment, because I'm sorry, you're going to mess up. The other thing that I will require, you have 2 coordinate pairs given to you. I am going to require that you write x1, y1, okay? x2, y2 on each pair that you do. I'm also going to require that you come out here and you put a subtract sign and a subtract sign. Now I'm ready to work the problem. So the formula says y2, well, that's 17. All it is putting your numbers in. Then the formula says y1, that's 5. If you do not write this down and try and do it in your calculator, I will not give you credit. x2 is 4, and x1 is 0. So now, you can't put this in your calculator all at the same time. It will not work for what we need. So what you're going to have to do is put in your calculator 17 subtract 5, hit enter, and I get 12. Okay? Then it says 4 subtract 0, which most of you should know is 4. Then remember, we want you to leave slope as a fraction simplified. So I'm going to put 12 divided by 4, math, because I want it as a fraction, and if it's a whole number, it'll give it back to me as a whole number or a fraction simplified, and it says my slope is 3. Okay? All right, let's do this process again. And I'm telling you, you cannot skip any of the steps. If you do, I'm just going to give you a 0 on your paper, and you can redo it. Okay? I know that sounds terrible, but it's just the way it's going to be. So I've got x1, y1, x2, y2. I am going to draw my line, and I am going to put subtract and subtract. Okay? So my formula says y2, which is 5, and then y1, which is 3. Then I have x2, which is 6, and then I have x1, which is 2. So now I'm going to put that in my calculator just like I'm looking at it. It says 5 take away 3, and I am going to write that down, and it says that number is 2. Then it says 6 subtract 2, which is 4. And now I'm going to see if it will simplify. 2 divided by 4, math, enter, enter, and I get 1/2. So my slope, or my m value, is 1/2. We're going to do a couple more, and then you're going to be working on it. Okay? So I said x1, y1, x2, y2. Then I put a line, I put a subtract sign, Okay? Here we go. We need y2 first. I'm still referring up here. y2, which is negative 6, subtract y1, which is negative 10. So I'm putting the numbers in just like I'm seeing them. Okay? Then it says x2, which is 0. And then it says x1, which is negative 12. So now I have to put them in my calculator just like I'm looking at them. So I have negative 6 subtract negative 10. I hope you're doing this with me, because if you're not, you are going to get lost and you are going to have a really hard time doing this practice. And I'm going to hit enter. Oh, it turns it to a positive 4. Then I'm going to do 0 subtract negative 12 and hit enter, and I get a positive 12. I'm going to see if that will simplify, and I am going to do 4 divided by 12, math, enter, enter, and I get 1/3. So that is 1/3, and that is my m value, 1/3. Okay, we're going to do one more together. Stay with me. First thing you need to do, x1, y1, x2, y2. Put your line out here, put your subtract and your subtract, okay? Then I want you to look at this, look at the formula, okay? Look at the formula. Don't start putting things in your calculator. The formula says y2. My y2 value is 11. Then it says y1, so it's negative 7. x2 is next, negative 5. x1, 0. Now I'm ready to put things in my calculator, and I'm going to do 11 subtract negative 7 and hit enter, and I get 18. And I get negative 5 divided by 0, and I'm sorry, subtract 0, and I get negative 5. I'm going to see if it'll simplify. 18 divided by negative 5, math, enter, enter, and I get negative 18 over 5, so it didn't simplify. My answer is negative 18 over 5. All right, and I think that's enough for today. Your practice has 10 problems on the front that are pairs, and it has 2 problems on the back, which you need to be very careful and do. I'm telling you already, please do all the steps that I've asked you to do. If you do not, I will not give you credit, and I doubt if your teacher will give you credit. So, Have a great day. You still have 30 minutes left of class.